Hi, my name is Turbine Majava, and yesterday was Friday the 13th, and I was in the mood for a horror movie. But instead of watching any of the Friday the 13th movies, I decided on something a little more Christmassy, since we're almost halfway through December now. Time flies. My choice landed on Krampus from 2015. This is the naughty cut. Uh, they released this because they had to edit some parts out for the PG-13 theatrical cut. So I'm not sure how much that is. It's a matter of minutes, I'm sure, but this is the restored version. This was directed by Michael Doherty, who who to me is the Trick or Treat guy. That's a great Halloween horror anthology right there. He also directed the 2019 American Godzilla movie, King of the Monsters, or something like that. That was okay at its best moments. Uh, King of the Monsters, Doherty also wrote for, along with one of the other Krampus writers, Zach Shields, and they also did story and screenplay on what was the other one? Godzilla vs. Kong. That one. That was at least somewhat better than the King of the Monsters. Um, the third Krampus writing credit is Todd Casey, who's written for various animated TV shows, including some DC and Marvel stuff. I haven't seen any of those. Uh, Mr. Doherty was also on the writing teams for X-Men 2 and 3, as well as Superman Returns. Kitty is meowing. Of those, X-Men 2 it has a pretty excellent script, in my opinion. And hey, for what it's worth, I hope Trick or Treat 2 gets made eventually. It's been in development hell for a full decade now, so I think it's time. Krampus is about the titular Christmas goat demon, Krampus, terrorizing a family Christmas gathering because one kid made a wish in anger. He thinks his family is a bunch of assholes, and he's not entirely wrong. But some people show their best characteristics when put in a real stressful situation, right? The acting in this is super fine. At first, when the characters were introduced, I thought they were fairly typical, but I quickly grew to like them because of the super fine acting. Now, I already liked Toni Collette. She's been great in a lot of horror and mystery thriller movies. She's a real pro in this, as expected. Uh, Alison Tolman, I remember from the first season of Fargo. She was awesome in that. She does not disappoint here. Adam Scott, I have most recently seen in the series Severance, which is an amazing show. Wonderful concept and masterful acting, including from Adam Scott. David Koechner, I don't know. I've seen in a whole bunch of stuff. He's had roles in everything you've ever seen. Uh, he's one of those actors who keeps showing up everywhere, but you never quite remember his name, and you can't quite place where you've seen him last. He's great in this. He seems to excel at characters with humorous qualities to them. I haven't seen the main child actor, MJ Anthony, in anything else, but he does a good job in this. He's the driving force behind the plot. So the acting's great, and I can't really fault the direction or the camera work either. Those are fine. This is a nice looking movie. Uh, I especially like the lighting in this. It can be really warm and cozy in certain scenes, especially with open flames, and other times effectively cold and blue and low contrast. The blizzard that rages outside for the whole movie looks a lot like an actual blizzard, and for the most part, it looks like the characters are cold out there. Their faces are all red, and you can see their breath. It's nice detail. I also like how flames create this really bright glare effect on the camera lens, because most of the time movies underestimate how exceedingly bright flames really are, especially if the fire's added in post. They're often much too dark, which is ridiculous. It should always be the brightest thing on screen, unless your shot includes the fucking sun. Flames look good here. Uh, they get the central plot of the movie going in around 25 minutes, long enough to know who's who in the family and to try and guess which of them will die first and which ones will sacrifice themselves to save the others at some point or something. I was wrong on some guesses, but not all of them in a way I'd like to be wrong in, if that makes sense. Uh, During the second act, it looks like the movie is going in a typically whimsical, harmless direction where most of the characters were going to be just fine after their little battle for survival, especially with this many child characters being in the movie. Uh, they're already going in an increasingly comedic direction with the tone because they keep injecting comedy into the fight scenes with the various creatures attacking the family. That's right, it's not just Krampus they have to deal with. This caught me by surprise. I didn't know Krampus was gonna bring his little helpers along. I wasn't aware he had any. There's this flying doll face bat monster. That was pretty cool. There's a Jack in the Box that also grows into a graboid from Tremors. I think that one's my favorite. There's this really cool top-down shot where the graboid monster is circling one of the characters under the snow. That was really neat. There's a murderous Teddy Ruxpin with dark green blood. I think I've seen a murderous Teddy Ruxpin in another movie. Uh, there's a little mechanical spider thing. That one is kind of lame, and it's dealt with rather quickly. It's not used very much. There's also a bunch of gingerbread men. At first, you only see one of them, and I didn't like it because it reminded me too much of Shrek. But then when they get together, they turn out to be more like gremlins, and their fight scenes were even more comedic, like something in Evil Dead 2. A lot of the fighting in this movie is very Evil Dead 2. I appreciate that. Krampus also has a bunch of elves with him. These elves look like satanic plague witches dressed in rags. I'm not sure the movie needed all of these monster characters to be there. The witch elves are kind of annoying too. They felt more like a plot device for certain scenes to happen. But having all this stuff does bring the action to a more hectic and chaotic level. Again, much like Gremlins and Evil Dead 2. Definitely entertaining and well executed, but I'm not exactly riveted by all of this stuff flying in my face, though most of the effects are appreciably practical. There's some CG, but okay, it's fine. It looks fine. It looks fine. Um, there are some decent character moments throughout, even in the fight scenes. Even the family dog, an English bulldog, gets its own little character growth. I thought that was funny. But with all of these Krampus minions being in the movie, they save Krampus's full reveal for the final act when you finally see him in a good light. They built this backstory for him before that with a totally decent looking animation sequence. I didn't expect that to be in the movie where Grandma is telling a story of her own childhood encounter with Krampus. But I think using Krampus so sparingly, otherwise, detracts from his character in what is supposedly his own movie, you know? When they eventually reveal him, he does have a good-looking full costume on him. He's he's basically a goat man with long claws and a face that looks mostly human. I think it's like that in the folklore too. He's supposed to be like a half goat, half devil. Uh, but in the movie, his goat eyes are are sunken really deep in their sockets, which makes it look like he's wearing Santa Claus's decaying face as a mask. And I thought that was a pretty cool effect, even if they didn't intend it to look like a horned leather-faced Santa. He's even called Shadow Santa in the movie. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he basically is, the inverse of Saint Nick. But they definitely managed to make him look cool and freaky enough for this movie. So I think it would have been okay to actually show him do more stuff on screen, you know? But because of all the chaos caused by his army of minions, his own menace is kind of downplayed. It's like he loses interest in his own movie after his first scene 25 minutes in, and then proceeds to send out his minion squad instead. I was hoping for a more personal conflict instead. uh, considering the title of the movie, I don't think I got enough of Krampus in it. They don't even give Grandma her resolution to happen on screen. She doesn't get her. A lot of the characters are just whisked away towards the end, also, which honestly feels like a cop out, considering this is supposed to be a pretty violent movie. Uh, what isn't a cop out, however, is the ending. And that's also a thing I was worried about for a moment. Oh, they're gonna go, oh, never mind, everyone's fine, no one's ever really gone, nothing bad actually happened. The worst thing they could have done is the "it was all a dream" ending. At first I thought they were gonna go there, but no, they actually had some Christmas bulbs to make it dark and more than a little bit cruel. Now I can definitely appreciate a fuck you ending, and I think this is a totally decent one. Good job. Uh, Overall, I like this movie just fine. Great acting, decent characters, entertaining action. Not much tension though. Nice lighting. I wish it would have gone further with a full Krampus showdown, but what they chose to do instead was okay. It was okay. The fuck you ending redeemed some of the lesser parts. So this comes down to a 6 out of 10. I would I would consider a 6.5, but I don't do halves. Fuck it. This is still an above average Christmas folk horror movie. Now then, I've noticed there are a bunch of other movies about Krampus, including Krampus from 2013, Krampus the Reckoning, Krampus 5, the Snow Beast, Mother Krampus, and Granny Krampus. Every single one of those looks fucking horrible. I am not wasting any of my time with any of those. Please and thank you. So, I guess goes from Krampus and happy holidays, and be sure to watch some real Christmas movies like Gremlins and Die Hard. if if Die Hard counts as a Christmas movie, then so does fucking Lethal Weapon and The Long Kiss Goodnight. Batman Returns. That one is absolutely a Christmas movie. There's Christmas shit in every shot, and it's snowing the entire time. Watch Batman Returns for Christmas. Okay. Goodbye.